This is the time for our investigative division to present information that would be interesting to both the board, the commission, and more importantly, to the public and the gaming industry. Madam Secretary, do you need to read this into the record?
I believe that should suffice.
That does it. Very good. I did it. Wonderful. Chief Hoffman, thank you for appearing here today. And we're looking forward to hearing things that would be of interest, as I said, to the gaming industry and to the public in general that don't know a lot about what the gaming investigative division does on a day-to-day basis. So please proceed when you're ready.
Yes. Are you ready with? This is Chief Hoffman. And since this is the first division report for the investigations division, it's a general overview of the division with a few details thrown in. This division does the licensing investigations for non-restricted applications. That's applications of more than 15 slot machines that are privately held. We do investigations of the restricted locations. That's 15 or less slot machines. Bars, taverns, convenience stores, etc. We do investigations of publicly traded companies. We do investigations regarding applications for registration, such as cloud computing, associated equipment, that kind of thing. We have the compliance section, which investigates and monitors compliance plans. We handle the registration of foreign gaming. And then regarding the investigations for licensure, we have applicant services, which is the intake for all of this stuff, except for the registrations. That's handled separately. That's handled by investigative services. And there are also attached investigative services is our agency liaison, where we interact with other regulatory agencies. And we also do special investigations. Every once in a while, we get assigned to do an investigation that's not a licensing investigation. So regarding something that comes up, our best example of that recently is the investigation of Wynn Resorts. Probably pretty well known. Some statistics on us. We have an office in Carson City. That's where I'm based right now. We have an office here in Las Vegas, so just 2 offices. We have, let's see, where am I going to be saying? We have corporate securities, which is the publicly traded companies investigations based in Carson City. Applicant services is based in Carson City. We have 3 non-restricted investigative teams in Carson City. We have 2 non-restricted investigative teams based here in Las Vegas. Restricted is headquartered down here, but we have an agent, a lonely agent up in Carson on the restricted team. We're going to be adding one more to that in Carson for that team. We have registrations and agency liaison based down here in Las Vegas. The compliance section is based up in Carson City. I think that's all of that. We have altogether, we have 65 investigative staff. That includes agents, senior agents, special agents, supervisors, and deputy chiefs. And their backgrounds are varied, kind of a jack of all trades kind of thing. We have people with expertise in business and finance, criminal justice, law enforcement, compliance, and a variety of degrees, MBA, CPA, CFE, CPM, and a large variety of languages too. We have everything from Ukrainian and Russian to Chinese to Spanish, along with English. We have 11 support staff. kind of evenly split between Las Vegas and Carson City, as well as my investigative staff, pretty well evenly split between Las Vegas and Carson City. And then I'll dive into a little bit on my different sections. So you start with the licensing investigations. You start with applicant services in Carson City. And that is headed up by applicant services manager, Barry Chilton. And that's a small staff. He's got Amy Morton to support him. We have the 5 non-restricted teams, 3 Las Vegas, 3 Carson, 2 Las Vegas. Deputy Chief Luke Rippey covers the Carson City teams, and Deputy Chief Nathan Allen covers the Las Vegas teams. Okay. Then we have the restricted team that's actually covered by Supervisor Julia Allen, based in Las Vegas. Again, 1 agent in Carson City and the rest here in Las Vegas, with another to be added in Carson City. We have the corporate security section that's headed by Deputy Chief Russell Teggio in Carson City. And we have the compliance unit that's basically co-managed by Deputy Chief Teggio and Deputy Chief Rippey. And it actually, on the day-to-day, it's run by Supervisor Pam Brown. We have the registration services unit that is headed by investigative services manager Diane Preston, right behind me. And Diane is also our agency liaison. And then with that, I'm going to have Diane go into a little bit of detail about what she does as a service manager and an agency liaison.
Thank you, Chief. Afternoon.
Good afternoon, Chair Hendrick, Member Watkins, Member Assad, Secretary Rupert. As Chief Hoffman said, I'm an investigative services manager and also the agency liaison for the board. I manage the registration services unit where we process and investigate registration applications for associated equipment manufacturers and distributors, service providers, independent agents, and independent hosts. The differences there is independent agents bring patrons to the casinos, while independent hosts bring patrons to the club venues. And with the adoption by the Commission amending NGC Regulation 5230, the team will also take on hosting center applications and investigations. The adopted amendments allow for hosting center companies and their principals to apply and get registered pursuant to NGC 4200, along with the technology division requirements for the hosting center facility in 5230. Instructions and updated applications forms will be posted to the board's website shortly. New will be the addition of a checklist for items to submit to the technology division as part of the application process. There will also be, we're working on a pared down process for registered hosting companies to apply for registration of additional hosting centers. And an instruction sheet for that process will be posted to the board's website as well. We are also looking into updating or revising NGC Regulation 25 to revise the commission reporting requirement listed in 25402 to one of retention of the information as detailed in Section 3 for other items the licensees are already required to retain for a period of 5 years. This will not only help the licensees, who some of them report over 200 to 300 independent agents yearly. It will also help the board trying to input that information, but we don't lose the ability to review it. I've talked with the chief of the audit division as well as the chief of the enforcement division to see if anybody would need that information handily here at the board versus getting it from the licensee, and none of them find that it would be a problem for them to do so. And if you have any questions about registration services, I'll move on to agency liaison.
Yeah. Thank you. Glad to hear that you're trying to reduce some paperwork on behalf of the licensees and on behalf of the board.
Definitely.
That's great.
Always can do that, right?
Wonderful. Yeah, please proceed with the next section.
Okay, so the board's agency liaison office responds to public requests. And we also receive and respond to requests for information or assistance from our law enforcement and regulatory agency partners around the world. So far this year, as you all know, the board has physically met with the National Indian Gaming Commission, Michigan Gaming Control Board, Bahamas Gaming Board, Jamaica Gaming Commission, Japan Casino Regulatory Commission, which we've actually been assisting quite often as they work to get their regulations and processes written for new licensees coming. And just last week, we met with the Cambodia Gaming Management Commission. Additionally, the agency liaison's office has responded to over 2,000 licensing verification requests so far this year. And we've also assisted various law enforcement and regulatory partners.
Great. Thank you. Questions from board members from Ms. Presson?
Thank you for that wonderful presentation. I don't have any questions.
Judge?
Just want to commend you all for the outstanding work you do. Because of the work you do, makes our job a lot easier and you make us look good. Thank you so much.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
I will absolutely echo that. There's a lot of paperwork that you all go through in the investigative division before it gets to us, and makes us look like we're pretty intelligent up here when we're able to have all the answers in front of us. So thank you for that. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Is there something else you'd like to add?
Yeah, I'm just going to have DC Allen touch on some challenges that we're having with the investigations division.
Great.
Oh,
Good afternoon.
Deputy Chief Nathan Allen, talking a little bit about challenges investigations faces a little bit. Hopefully, it doesn't impact you, and that's kind of our job with the leadership with the division is to try to mitigate that, and so it doesn't disrupt anything you do. But by way of a little bit peel back, since inception, the primary challenge we have is trying to provide full and fair and detailed enough investigations that the board and commission can make a determination on, while still being receptive and expedient and responsive enough with the industry. So generally, I think we do a pretty good job of that. Obviously, some investigations take longer. It could be everything from an applicant being prepared, whether they've worked with counsel before, whether they've gone through the process before, and how responsive they are to our requests as we get information, how clear is the information that they present to us, we can go through. Obviously, complex situations require additional time. And of course, if there's issues or if the investigators start discovering issues, that requires additional time. In addition to those innate challenges, there's also an issue of capacity and basically, casework matching up with agent resources that we have to do that. We're going through some growing pains, I'd say, this past several years, actually. That's actually since 2012, and still in response to the recession, the investigations division has been whittled down quite a bit. Essentially, there were 20 non-restricted and corporate securities positions that had either through attrition or through reassignments to different responsibilities that the board investigations division has taken on have been dispersed out of non-restricted. So if you think about it, that's essentially not 20 non-restricted team members that were producing investigations. You see sort of a result from that because, back then there would be 2 days of 2 days of hearings, gaming control board hearings. Now, generally, we only have enough for 1 day. You also have part of that time period since 2017. There was a loss of a complete investigative team from a supervisor to six non-restricted agents in that period of time. Adding that to the fact that over the past few years, there's been quite an attrition rate in terms of retirements and resignations. This year alone, just for 2023, there have been 8 retirements and resignations, and these are very high-performing, very strong agents. Unfortunately, that we've lost. Happy for them to move on, but accumulated years. It's over a century's worth of experience and knowledge that has left our division last year. We are now looking at several vacancies. Between North and South, agent-wise, we have a vacancy of about 10% right now. In support staff, the administrative support staff, we're looking at about 45% vacancy on that. What that means is that we have more work falling on fewer people, and that we're spending a lot of our time trying to recruit and go through the hire process rather than getting to devote that to the primary mission at hand. Now even with the vacancies, we do have hiring process. We're deploying a lot of efforts into that, and we're hiring people. But just to give you a lay of the land, in Las Vegas alone, with the non-restricted team, less than half of that non-restricted team has more than 2 years of experience. So generally, we kind of think that it takes about 1 to 2 years to get an agent trained up. So as you can imagine, that we're devoting a lot of time to hiring, retaining, and training these agents. So with that, if you have any questions on that, I can address that.
Thank you for that, Deputy Chief. I'm interested, you said that there's a current percentage of vacancies. If all of those were filled, how many positions would you say you're still down for before? Apparently the legislature took some positions away.
Right. So essentially what happened was prior was through attrition in preparation for those positions, we let those positions go vacant, and then we gave them up during previous legislative.
And how many positions was that?
So I don't have the exact numbers on that,
Roughly.
but
11.
was it about 11?
11. Yeah.
Team of 7, and then there was.
Step up to the mic, Chief, so it gets on the record.
Yeah, there was that team of 7 that DC Allen mentioned. We lost an admin deputy chief, and we actually lost a chief. There used to be a chief of corporate securities as well, and maybe a couple other agents. So I'm thinking about 11, 10 or 11.
So that's somewhere in the low teens percentage of your entire division has not been able to be replaced, separate and apart from the vacancies. Yeah, and I would presume that impacts your ability to affect gaming applications at the same rate you could if those positions were here. That'd be logical, right? If you fully staffed, we could crank out applications through the process faster.
Absolutely. Missing staff equates to a larger backlog of applications being processed.
And have you seen that over just the past few years? Is it a function of the number of applications coming in, or has that stayed pretty steady and it's just a lack of staff to handle that number of applications?
It's both. Our applications, and I think not especially, but restricted, the volume has increased and the complexity has increased. We're getting a lot of instead of just a husband and wife with a corporation or an LLC running a tavern, you still have the tavern there, but then you have these multi-layered investment companies that are all using the minority equity interest holder regs, and you get layers 4 or 5 deep with multiple individuals up there and trusts, and that really adds to the complexity, which takes more time, which adds to the backlog, and also just the growth of the economy, especially down here, but also up in northern Nevada. More applications coming in because of that, and then on the non-restricted side, we are getting not so many new properties, although we just had the Durango. We're having a lot of buying and selling of properties. You've got the Venetian, you've got the Mirage, you've got the Cosmopolitan, all highly complex transactions. And you add on that this heightened interest in sports betting, and you've got a lot of companies that have come in that want to be licensed as an information service, or as a key employee to operate a book in order to get to participate in the betting part of the economy. And a lot of those are foreign companies. So that adds to complexity and adds to the time, which adds to the backlog.
Yeah, thank you for that. Questions from board members for either deputy chief or chief?
Thank you for explaining that and providing that background, Chief. When you say that the sports betting companies coming in or applying are foreign entities, and does it add time or complexity because their structures are different than ours, or because they don't understand Nevada regulations, or what seems to be the issue there? And it just takes longer because of that.
It's because of the, doing an investigation in a foreign country adds complexity. It takes more time to do the investigation. And you do have some differences in finances, and you have some differences in the company structure. And yes, with some companies, not all, we've had some really good cooperation from some of these foreign companies, but we've had some others that are kind of taken by surprise by what we do. And, I would hope that their gaming council would have prepared them better for what they were going to encounter with us. And some do a great job, and these applicants are like deer caught in the headlights. And they didn't realize what they were getting into, and they're not prepared, and that adds to time and the complexity.
Great.
Thank you.
Judge?
Yes, I just want to thank you both and your entire department for this overview. It's very informative. And because of the work that you all do, and I think that's why Nevada is the gold standard and continues to be number one in the country in terms of gaming and regulations, and other jurisdictions come here, as Diane Presson mentioned, and they come here and they want to learn from us, and it's because of folks like you. So thank you. I appreciate everything you do.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you all for the presentation, and we have a workshop tomorrow, and looking forward to that open forum about not that there's anything that isn't being done right in the investigation division, but it's a chance for us to have an open discussion with the industry about, is there possible ways that we can make it even better? So looking forward to that tomorrow as well.
Yeah, tomorrow I'll start with an introduction, a little bit about how long our investigations are taking, and then have the public comment. And then I'll have some concluding remarks about, why we do what we do, and why, at least I think it works. And of course, there'll be question and answer type of stuff.
Good. Looking forward to it. Thank you very much, all of you, for the presentation, and to your host staff for everything you do for the state of Nevada.
Thank you.
Great.